Queen Elizabeth II was well known for her love of dogs, with the corgi breed becoming synonymous with Her Majesty over the years. She kept more than 30 of the dogs over her lifetime, but none captured her heart more than Candy. Candy, dubbed a dorgi due to her mix of dachshund and corgi pedigrees, passed away early in the summer at the age of 18, a remarkably long life for a dog. The Queen was reportedly distraught at the loss of the little dog, who was by her side in Balmoral for her final visit before her death on September 8, aged 96. In an unusual move, the Queen reportedly decided not to bury Candy at Balmoral where she died, but rather to have her remains moved to Windsor, where the Queen herself will now be laid to rest. According to the Daily Mail, Candy was flown from Balmoral to London before being transferred to Windsor. Over the course of her life, the tradition has typically been that the Queen's pets were buried in the place they passed, all apart from Candy. The Queen herself usually oversees the burial of her pets, accompanied by her head gardener. A headstone with the dog's name, dates of birth and death, and an epitaph is placed on the grave. Read more: The Queen's Night of Freedom with Sister Margaret beyond palace walls. The Queen and Candy leave Buckingham Palace in 2021, image, PA, the Queen beams at Candy in the Oak Room at Windsor Castle earlier this year, image, Getty, Queen's funeral guest list in full, all the royals and world leaders confirmed so far. Westminster Abbey's 2,000-person capacity is expected to be filled to honour Britain's longest reigning monarch next week. The event will be one of the largest diplomatic occasions of the century, and the guest list is expected to include politicians, world leaders, and European royals. See the guest list in full here. Another of the Queen's beloved dorgies, named Vulcan, died at Windsor and is buried there. Candy will now be reunited with him. The Queen still had the company of 2 other dogs after Candy passed, Sandy and Mick, who were said to have been a great comfort to her. Sandy and Mick will now be adopted by Prince Andrew and his ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson. The pair remain good friends despite their divorce, and reside at the Royal Lodge in Windsor, which the dorgies will now call home. Andrew and Fergie had reportedly been helping walk the dogs in the months leading to the Queen's death, so they are familiar to them. Her Majesty reportedly resisted taking on many new dogs in recent years, knowing her advanced years might have resulted in them outliving her. The Queen loved dogs her whole life, seen here in 1936 with a corgi, image, Getty. Sandy and Mick were gifted to the Queen to comfort her following the death of Prince Philip last year, but it was Candy who truly held her heart, by her side since 2004. Now, the Queen will soon be reunited with her beloved Candy as her body makes its final journey home to Windsor next week. The Queen's funeral, which will be marked with a special bank holiday on Monday, September 19, will see hundreds of thousands of people descend on Westminster to wish Her Majesty farewell. Heads of state from across the world will be flying in to join members of the royal family to remember the Queen's life and service. Senior UK politicians and former prime ministers will also be there, as well as members of royal families from across Europe, many of whom were blood relatives of the Queen. Don't miss: Landlord recalls Queen tucking into pub grub in freak storm, inside Mike Tyndall made Queen laugh with brilliant magic trick, report Queen terrorised Saudi prince driving the Balmoral country roads, insight: the Queen at the Royal Windsor Horse Show in 1973 with her dogs, image, Getty. Trending: Her Majesty had more than 30 corgis during her life, seen here walking a few in 1977 in Windsor, image, Getty. After the Westminster Abbey service, the coffin will be drawn in a walking procession from the Abbey to Wellington Arch, at London's Hyde Park Corner. Then, at around 1 p.m, it will be transferred to the new state hearse for its final journey to Windsor Castle, the place the Queen most considered home during her life. As a teenager, she was sent to the castle during the war years as London faced the threat of bombing, and more recently she made it her permanent lockdown location during the coronavirus pandemic. There, in Windsor St George's Chapel, she will be laid to rest next to Prince Philip, with Candy not far away.